All right, I'm a big fan of starting on time. So here we go. It is 7 o'clock. Welcome to drill prep session number one. We are currently recording, and so I will clean up this recording and send it out to everybody along with a kind of a to-do list. I'm going to call on people and just ask you to introduce yourself. Most folks on the call, I think, are actually activating either June 1st or June 9th, but there are some folks that just want to kind of see how it goes and then maybe do a drill later on in the season. So I'm Ann Forrest. I am not currently associated with the hub because I just moved. I am the coordinator for the North Seattle hubs. Nancy, will you go next?
Sure. Yeah. Nancy Wilder. I'm with the Wedgwood Hub. I am not the chair, but I am the on the planning committee. And we are activating on June 9th.
Excellent. Steve, would you go next?
Steve Smith from Madison Valley. We are also activating on June 9th.
Nice. Jody, you're next.
Jody from Ballard Commons Park, and we are activating on the 9th.
Bill Fay from Queen Anne Hub, and we're activating on June 1st.
I'm from the Finney Hub, and we're on the 9th.
I'm Ed Falk. Mary's here. She's making a cat happy. So we're with the South Wallingford Hub. I don't think we're actually activated yet.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you tonight. This is Rita.
And John.
And which hub are you with?
The West Seattle South Highland Park Hub.
Brand new. Excellent. All right. Welcome. Carrie.
Hi, Carrie Fowler with the Finney Hub, along with Sandy.
Catherine Keller from Hummer Harris Hub. And there's 3 of us activating on the 9th. So we'll activate certain scenarios.
I'm Roger Rothman with the Laurelhurst Hub, and we're going to hold our drill on September 21st.
Yeah, I'm Frank Gold with the Magnolia Hub, and I'm going to be activating with Bill over at Queen Anne.
Lake City Hub, and we think we're going to activate. Can you hear me? Lake City activate on the 9th.
Norma Jenner, Wedgwood Hub captain right by Lake City. So hopefully we can talk to each other, activating on the 9th.
There we go.
New Beach Hub. I don't know exactly what we're doing. I just joined the meeting to see what's happening.
Okay. And so I'm sorry, Chris, which hub are you with?
Rainier Beach.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Rayburn Hub, and we're going on the 9th.
Kevin.
With the Finney Hub and also on the 9th.
I'm Lee. I'm an Eagle Scout candidate, and I'm with Ross Lake Park Hub, hoping to go on the 1st.
But anyway, so we're with Madison Valley, and I guess our date is June 9th as well.
Excellent. Yeah, welcome.
All right, I'm Peter Honey. I'm with the Madison Valley Hub. We will be going on June 9th.
Excellent. Okay, if I missed you, I'm sorry, but we're going to keep going. So hopefully you can see my screen. This is really informal tonight. I have some things prepared, but I'm happy to answer lots of questions. So we're calling this drill Rumble Ready. One of our team members asked AI to come up with a name, and that's what they came up with. The group is either activating on June 1st, which is a Saturday, or Sunday, which is June 9th, 1 to 3 p.m. There are 14 hubs activating. This is our scenario, and I'm going to send these out, so you don't need to write this down. So Seattle experienced a moderate earthquake along the Seattle fault line yesterday. The Seattle fault line is the one that goes right through downtown Seattle. It is what's called a shallow fault line, meaning the energy that's released is released very close to the Earth's surface. It could be very catastrophic for Seattle because it is so close to the surface. It's capable of about a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, which doesn't sound big when, we hear about 9.1s in the news, but a 7.2 underneath downtown Seattle, right across I-90, with all the unreinforced masonry buildings and significant density, population density, and again, being so close to the surface, can do a lot of damage. I believe the number we're using, which doesn't really matter all that much, but we're putting it at a 6.1. So it didn't release as much energy as it could, but it released quite a bit. So that's what happened yesterday. The hubs did activate yesterday until nightfall, and then we closed up camp because that's what we do. We don't operate at night. We don't have batteries and light sources. So we did a little bit yesterday, and then we're opening up again today. So that's either that Saturday or that Sunday, depending on what day you activate your drilling. The Emergency Operations Center started. It stood up yesterday. Power is down in most of the city. Phone and cell signal communications are unreliable, kind of spotty, coming and going, mostly down. Commercial communications, as in radio or TV, are transmitting, but again, a little bit sketchy. Police, fire, and city departments are able to talk on their radios, but the system is overloaded. So again, nothing earth-shattering. We're not doing anything different than an earthquake. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight, and the stuff that I'd like for you to start getting under your belt, start getting done before next week. First of all is asking permission to do this exercise. Many of you are in the Parks Department. You are activating on Parks property. I will take care of requesting permission for that. Everyone that's not on Parks property, if you were on private property, you need to let your landlord know that you would like to activate. If you could get something in writing, that would be great. If you have an understanding and you're comfortable with just a verbal agreement, whatever, you do you. But please let your landlord know that you are activating. One of the hub captains is taking the hub event, the gear and everything, and is moving kind of away from where the box is to a street. They are closing down a street because it's more obvious. Their hub box and where they would typically activate is tucked away a little bit. So the street traffic, the foot traffic isn't there. So I just wanted to mention this. It is absolutely doable, and I will help you do it. I can help you close down the street. I can help you find the right barriers to put at each end of the street. And that depends on how big of a street you're closing down, whether or not an arterial is involved or not. So I can absolutely help you close down a street if you'd like to move your drill to a place that's more obvious. So I would encourage you to think about that. I think it's a very, very smart idea. So think about closing down a street or moving it to a much more visible area, if that makes sense for you. So that's the first thing. I'm going to, in the follow-up from this call, I'm going to send you a sample letter of how you might ask your landlord for permission or letting them know that you're doing an exercise. So copy and paste, edit away. So I'll be sending that down. And again, I will take care of you, of getting you permission if you are sitting on Parks Department property. The next thing I want you to do, and I will have this, I will show you this map that I'm talking about right now, and I want you to go through it and check it a little bit better. So this is a map that is on the internet. It is what is linked to all of the promotion for this event. The hubs that are in orange, and those are these stars, those are the ones that are activating June 1st. So the orange is first and blue is second. You can just kind of see where you're all scattered. What I'd like you to do is go to your star, double click on it, and take a look at this information. I need you to tell me that all of this is correct. For the hub, for the Fred Meyer Lake City Hub. Lake City Hub, Fred Meyer, June 9th. There's an address, southwest corner of the parking lot. If there's anything else you want added to this map for the public to know, please just let me know, and I'm happy to put it on there. Anything, where parking might be, anything you can think of. So that's a pretty typical one. Here's Madison Valley. They're the hub that's thinking about shutting down a street. So meet on 29th Avenue between Republican and Harrison. We're closing down the street and inviting food trucks for dinner. I think that's what Madison Valley's doing. So, and then their normal location is listed here. So again, whatever you want listed next to your name here, please just let me know. So number 2 is checking this map. and making sure that everything on there is accurate. Because again, the public's going to see this. Somebody asked about accessing the map. I am sending the link as soon as this phone call's over with. So that was number 2 on things to do.
And
Number 3, yes, ma'am.
hello? Where are you sending access to the map to? To just the hub administrator or?
No, if you signed up for this class, then then I have your email and I'm going to send this information out to the people that signed up for the class.
Okay, great, thanks.
Number 2 is check the map, and I will send that link so you can take a look at it. Number 3 is promote the event. We have a couple different flyers and a Facebook post that you're welcome to borrow. And I will be sending that out. So start promoting the event to whatever groups you can think of. We will be doing the team that I'm working with to promote this event. We will be doing more of the higher level kind of stuff, inviting people from the city, inviting the fire department, inviting the police department, inviting the Office of Emergency Management, Boy Scouts, all that kind of higher level organizational stuff. We'll be taking care of that, but I need you to push it at your level. So number 3 is promote the event. Number 4 is so for each of you, I have made what's called a sign up. That are here already are the ones that are activating June 1st. And it won't take me but another minute to do the June 9th ones. So when you click on this link, basically it says, thank you for signing up to participate in this drill. And so this is the link that you send out to your neighbors, to the people you want to be your information officer, your radio person, your message taker, anybody that you think might work in your drill. Send them this link and I'll get you the link. So this is giving them information about what to do. Show up at noon at the Victory Heights Playground. There's the address. Bring a water bottle, sunscreen, and a folding chair. Here's the address again. And then they will get to another spot. These are the spots that people can sign up for. I'm offering this to you. If you want to keep track of your volunteers in some other way, that's great. But I think this is very helpful. We're going to skip the first 2. But let's go to pre-greeter. And let's see what this says. For the pre-greeter, your job is to explain what's going on and encourage neighbors and onlookers to get involved. You'll hand out paper scripts. Blah, 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 blah. You send them to the greeter. So it's a job description. So send this to your neighbors and go, hey, please sign up for one of these. The greeter, there's some information about what does the greeter need to know. Information manager, that's what the information manager needs to know. So, and then people will sign up. This is a bad view of this, but anyway, I'd like for you to click through this and see if this makes sense to you. And if you want to use it, just let me know. And, I'll get you the link and we'll make it live. And how many of you have used something like Sign Up to coordinate your volunteers? Give me a show of hands. Okay, not many of you. Okay. I think it will make sense. And if you want, just give me a call and I will walk through it with you one-on-one. I think it's a really good way to keep track of who's signed up for what. So you can figure out where your holes are. You can go, oh, I don't have an education officer. I can think of Sally. She'd be really good at that. I'm going to email Sally or call Sally directly and say, hey, I'd really like for you to do this job for me. Here's the job description. If you're okay with it, sign up. And then it'll tell you when to show up and what to bring and all that kind of stuff. So I will send out the link for each of you have a different link, and I'll send that out to each of you. So you can take a look at this app, for lack of a better word, that might help you keep track of your volunteers so that you're not, so that the idea is, you know who's going to do what before we start, and you're not figuring it out the day of, as you're putting up canopies. Go ahead, Catherine.
The one thing I've always wanted was a slot that says I'll volunteer just to sign me.
Oh, okay.
Every single time. If I show up, I don't care. I may want to say what I'm good at, but that should be a conversation, maybe.
Okay. Yes. Thanks, Catherine. Somebody asked if you'd be able to modify the sign up app. Yes, I can either give you permission and you can do it yourself if you're comfortable with this, or you can tell me what changes you'd like and I'm happy to make the changes. We can go either way. If I turn it over to you, you have control of it at that point and I can't mess with it anymore. So I hand it off to you if that's what you want to do. In most of the signups, I had a few people showing up at 11:30, but everybody else pretty much shows up at noon, and the hub drill starts at 1 for the public. What we heard last year, and we've heard it for several years in a row now, is there never seems to be enough time to get set up before the drill starts. So if you think you need more time, if you want your volunteers, everybody to show up at 11:30, I'm happy to change the sign up, and that's the guidance that you're giving your volunteers. So any questions about this sign up? It's a little techy, but I'm happy to work with anybody that needs it.
Just to say that we did use it last year, and it was, I thought, made our job a lot easier, and people knew they were prepared when they came because they've read over the job description.
Right. It also does send them a reminder. I think it's 3 to 5 days. I forget exactly when it is, but they will get a reminder, an email saying, hey, don't forget you signed up to work at the drill and this is your job. So that's all I have prepared for tonight. There's a few things I need you guys to do to just start getting the ball rolling. What questions do you have?
Well, I think publicity is always the challenge. And I think what we've used in the past is we put up flyers on telephone poles and we've handed them out with the merchants with some success. And we've used Facebook and Nextdoor. So there's not a lot of kind of direct marketing, like going house to house. But I just wonder if there's any other ideas about ways of reaching out in our neighborhoods.
I have an idea. It was not really successful for me, but I think it could be. We would put a kid on a bike and say, go find the little free libraries and tape a sign to that. I thought it worked. I thought it would work really well, but some curmudgeon in my neighborhood walked by and took them all down. I don't know why. Maybe they were just in a bad mood. But I thought that was a really good way to get the flyer out there without putting it on everybody's mailbox, which by the way is not legal. So don't stuff the mailbox full of flyers. But if there's kiosks or anything, like a little free library kind of thing, I would absolutely feel free to do that. I'm going to send out a flyer that is less colorful so that we're not depleting everyone's color cartridges. So not black and white, but pretty close to it. And that will give you a choice of what you want to print.
In Wedgwood, I just started having a good success getting a hold of the different churches and the PTAs, and they were all more than willing to put the information about our events in their newsletters, bulletins, and we did get a few, all the efforts to get a few people here and there. But yeah, at least churches in our neighborhood were really happy to do that and thought we're very glad to hear about the hub, and trying to track down the Boy Scouts, but they're very elusive. I think I have a lead on the Girl Scouts, thinking that people whose families are interested in this, the parents might be people who want to support it, that kind of thing.
Excellent. A resource we have found recently with skills fairs are North Seattle College students. And I'm assuming South Seattle and Central Seattle College, same thing. And what we're tapping into is the kids that are in Running Start. So they are high school seniors also enrolled in community college, so they're getting a jump start on their college education, but they need hours to graduate. They need volunteer hours. So, I mean, we put that out there and they jumped. So I will take care of that, promoting the different drills, and hopefully you'll get some kids coming either to just come and, you know, be a volunteer and set up tents, or maybe even to take on one of the roles. These kids are fearless. Man, they stepped in and did amazing things at the skills fairs and really hit the ground running. I was impressed. Again, these are kids that are not just high schoolers, but they're already in community college. These are sharp kids. Somebody asked about are the flyers full page or quarter page? I will make quarter page. I like that. If you've got a way to hand them out, I think that's fabulous. I always like to be able to put something in somebody's hand and tell them to put it on their fridge. So I will include that with the follow-up email from tonight.
So, Anne, the college students, do they require any kind of confirmation that they did some community service?
Yes, they typically will come to you at the end of the event and say, will you sign my paperwork? I would encourage you to sign the paperwork when you are done, not when they show up. And don't be afraid of saying, yes, I'll be happy to sign your paperwork, but I need help putting my canopies up first. So.
Hey, you need to put in the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Susie, I will absolutely put as many different versions in there as I can think of. And if you need a version of something, please just let me know. I am not the guru of promoting stuff. So I create what I think will be helpful, but if there's something else out there, if you need it as a PDF versus a photo, just let me know. I'm happy to modify it. What else is on your guys' minds? What are you worried about?
The weather.
The weather. Oh, didn't even think about that one. Thanks a lot, Susanna. Now I'm worried about the weather.
No fun when it's raining.
No, it's zero fun. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what role do you foresee JMRS radio operators taking in this exercise?
Excellent. Okay, I wasn't going to go into details, but since you asked, I will. So this drill, we are really concentrating on the basics, and I'll tell you what we are looking for is matches. So because the earthquake happened the day before and the hub stood up the day before, you will have pre-staged pieces of paper on your needs board, on your volunteer board. You will have papers there. I will get them to you. I will probably ask you to print them, but I will get them to you and you can put them on your boards ahead of time. So when you activate on either that Saturday or Sunday, you're starting with paperwork already ready to go. So, and the reason for that is I want you to start making matches right away. The family that needs diapers and the family that has diapers, I want those two pieces of paper to touch one another, to be stapled together and call it a match. The person that is a carpenter, the person that needs a carpenter, matching those two pieces of paper together, staple them, and that's a match. We haven't figured out what we're going to do yet, but we'd like to offer prizes for the hub that does the most matches, whether it's gear, you know, that diaper scenario, or volunteers, the carpenter scenario. So we're really emphasizing the basics of the hub, not ham radio, not the fancy communications, but the basics of getting your neighbor's needs met. So have the needs at the resources or the gear area, have the needs when it comes to skills. The third thing we're going to look at and offer some kind of a prize to the winning hub is how many correct pieces of information did you get up on your whiteboard, your information board? And the way we judge that, or the way you judge that, is before you tear down at the end of the exercise, you snap a picture of that information board. And so we will know what should be up there so we can judge it against what you actually got up on that board. So that's how you win in that category. So again, the basics. What we're going to do with GMRS radios, we're going to have GMRS radios do 3 things. First of all, we'd like to have somebody kind of new jump on a GMRS radio and listen to ham radio frequencies. We will have ham radio operators talking, and we will tell you exactly what channel to go listen to. So we want you to practice listening to that conversation and writing it down fast and legible. So capturing information that you're listening to, the ham radio operators talking. So capturing that, scribbling it down, and getting that sent to the hub to do whatever is appropriate with that information. So that's one, using GMRS radio to listen to ham radio frequencies. Number 2 is talking to other hubs, either simplex or repeater. And if you're not a radio operator, that won't make any sense, but making some contact with other hubs, and we'll give you a reason to reach out to other hubs. And the third one is, we would like the volunteer coordinator. If you can get a really strong volunteer coordinator working in that role, we would like for them to simulate sending volunteers out to do things in your community. Bob and Susan, I want you to go to the Elm Street Church, and I want you to tell me how they're doing setting up their shelter. So you'll send those 2 volunteers out with a GMRS radio. We'd like to see if they can call back to the volunteer coordinator with an update. And the way we'll do this is we'll create a board. So honestly, a piece of cardboard is what I'm anticipating, and I'm hoarding cardboard now. A big piece of cardboard with a bunch of 3x5 cards on it. And one of these cards will say Elm Street Church. And so the 2 volunteers that you sent to that piece of cardboard will take off that 3x5 card that says Elm Street Church, read the back of it that gives the information to radio back to the volunteer coordinator about that shelter. So we want to practice with GMRS radio within our community, volunteers talking back to hub volunteers. Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Can they do that without a GMRS license?
I'm figuring that out. I think we might fudge it, but we'll see. I don't want to break the law because I know I'll get in trouble. I know you can listen in on GMRS. You can listen in on ham radio operators and just write down what they're saying. That isn't a problem if you don't have a GMRS radio. Susanna, I'm going to call on you because I'm sure you know the rules. Go ahead.
No, I don't. I don't know the GMRS.
Oh, okay. Let me go with Steve and then I'll come back to you, Susanna. You're muted, Steve.
There's one of you and a lot of us activating. So I assume that each hub is going to be responsible to run their own show on that day. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yes, absolutely. I'm just giving you a heads up that you might want a really strong volunteer coordinator to try and work this idea. The other thing is, don't be afraid to get 2 volunteer coordinators. One could talk to volunteers that you've sent out in the field, and the other one is just trying to make those matches. It could easily be a 2-person job. While we're talking about this, Jody at Ballard Commons came up with the idea of 2 message takers because she has seen message takers are often a bottleneck in the hub drill. So you can do some modifications like that to make your life easier. And we'll go into that a little bit later on. Susanna, go ahead.
Oh,
so you're telling us a fair number of things that have to be set up, like, you know, things in the board, in the haves and needs and haves already there. You know, this number, you know, the piece of cardboard, whatever. Would you make sure there's a clear list? Because that's just adding, you know, we not only do we have to get set up, But those are things we don't normally have in our list of things to set up. So that's going to take time.
Yes. And in my head, I'll get you in just a second, Jody. You would bring, I think most of you are probably using the pantry organizers to manage this paperwork. So in my head, you go visit your hub 2 weeks before the drill and you pull those pantry organizers home. So you can stuff these pre-staged messages in those pantry organizers well before the drill. So you're not doing it the morning of when you're setting up. You're already ready to go.
So a well-organized list of what things have to happen before would be a checklist or whatever would be very handy, because they're all in your head, but they won't necessarily be all in ours.
Yep. That's my goal. Fingers crossed. Somebody had a hand up. Jody and then Susie.
I'm thinking that this might be a good time to try getting some a bicycle team started.
I saw that. Yeah. Be thinking about whether or not you want to incorporate bicycles. I don't have a lot of experience in it, but if you've got a good idea, I would love to have you share it so that other folks can do that. Catherine asked about bicycles as well. Susie, go ahead.
So I was hearing you talk about the GRMS radios, and I think it was Steve saying something about the licensing, but I also thought I heard you say that we would try sending a volunteer out with those. And I've only done one of these drills once. I'm still relatively new and have told our Broadview hub captain, I'm not positive I can commit to being the second hub captain yet, but I don't think we have all those radios in the thing do we have those radios in our box? Because how are we sending?
Not in the box.
Okay, so how are we sending volunteers out with those? And there's a limited number that we would have, I presume.
A lot of the hubs will not be able to do, especially this piece of it, because you just don't have enough neighbors that have GMRS radio. But there are a lot of folks that have GMRS radio, and maybe you can encourage them to come play at your hub.
Okay.
Same thing with canopies, and we'll get into the gear piece next time. I would encourage all of you to get 4 canopies if you can. A, it's really good if it's raining, and B, it's a very visible way to show the community these are the 4 things the hub does. And again, we'll go through that. We'll go through that next week. You guys got enough homework to do right now. Any other burning issues?
I guess I'll just comment on the bike thing. We had, we're trying to coordinate with some folks from Cascade Bicycle Club to see if they want to try and do some bike stuff in kind of in tandem with our drills. I haven't heard back yet, but that is something that we're trying to get happening. So there might be some bikes coming by. We're not sure what it might look like yet.
Sweet.
So,
okay.
do you remember,
Definitely
does
bikes.
anybody remember when we had the bicycles delivering eggs? And then, so they would go from one place to the other and they would deliver eggs to see how many made it intact. So it gave them a payload that sort of demonstrated. So, and then there was a whole variety of people. There were serious bikers. There were dads with their kids. I mean, it was just kind of a fun thing. But when they came to the location, it was Hub. We also had people, and I was one of the nurses that would give free advice about hyperthermia or hypothermia, you know, kind of a first aid theory that you would tell bikers to make sure you hydrate or make sure you wear enough layers if it's raining. So it served a couple purposes as well. So that did occur. There is history with bicycles.
Okay. I think we can have a lot of fun with them. It is not my area of expertise, so I am more than happy to let somebody else kind of take the lead on that. Okay, any other questions or any other comments? Yeah, go ahead, Norma.
Can I go back to radio? Sorry.
Mhm.
So for this drill, can you just clarify, we don't need to have a ham operator on site?
That is correct. There will not be any formal jobs for them. What we'd like the ACS members, the ham radio operators that are kind of flitting around the outskirts of the hub world, we would like for them to put down their radio and become a volunteer, become a neighbor, a citizen actor, and go through the hub. A, it gives us more practice, and B, it gives them a chance to not just be on their radio, but really see how the hub works. There is a
Good. And
small role for ham radio, but it's nothing you guys need to worry about.
One idea for if folks don't have access to GMRS radios, I know lots of families have walkie-talkies, FRS radios, and at least in our neighborhood, there has been good. I know in the past they've tested that. That's been one of the parts of their drill that they've done, and there's pretty good reception with just those low-powered radios, and maybe that would be something to try.
Yeah, and if you don't have good reception, that's a good thing to know too. You know, hey, walkie-talkies aren't going to work in our neighborhood. Maybe we ought to push, more folks getting GMRS radios, which have more strength and they can go farther. Okay. I'm going to call it, guys, unless somebody has any burning questions. All right. I'm going to try and take a snapshot so I know that everybody. I want to make sure that everybody that was here is getting the follow-up emails. All right. I don't have anything else, guys, unless you do.
Great, thank you.
So
Ann.
our
That's
next
wonderful.
one is on May 6th?
May 6th. So next Monday. We're doing 2 Mondays and then taking a week off and doing a third one.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Okay.
want to, yeah. Let me see. Okay, just want to thank you, Ann, for making this happen.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's so much easier to do everybody at one time than trying to, you know what I mean. Go ahead, Bill. Did you have a question?
Well,
Yeah.
On the other Mondays, are you going to be doing like the same thing or new stuff?
No, we're gonna get more in the weeds. We'll
Yeah.
talk more about the pre-stage stuff, and it'll build on itself. I just gave you a couple pieces of homework to get you started.
Okay.
And I'll be sending those out in email in just a bit. Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Take care.
Thanks. All right.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Thank you.